Now let's go to nomenclature excerpts from the ICZN 4th edition. So, ano ba ang ICZN? ICZN is the International Code of Nomenclature or Zoological Nomenclature. It is by the International Commission on Zoological Nomenclature. It is a group of animal taxonomists or systematist commissioners. So, sila yung authority sa naming animal species and everything. Basta pag naming, sila ang may bahala. Ganun. So, ang background ng ICZN, approximately 1.2 million species identified and described, 8.7 species of plants including in tropical countries and inaccessible areas and animals, 2,000 plus new genus names, 15,000 new species names in zoological nomenclature every year. So, ang author nila ay International Commission of Zoological Nomenclature. So, iba yung ICZN na code, yung mismong, yun yung mismong libro or yung mismong text na binabasihan nila. And, ang nagsulat nun ay ang ICZN din. Pero yung C, papalitan mo ng commission. Kasi mga tao na yan eh. Year founded, it is founded in 1895. Ang aim niya is to create, publish, and revise authority on taxonomic problems that have nomenclatural implications. Ano ba yung mga sample ng mga taxonomic problems? For example, a subspecies of animal is studied molecularly, and the results showed na yung animal na pala yun is masyado siyang different from their parent species, promoting the subspecies to species. So, na-elevate siya ng taxa, diba? So, ayun. Yun yung isa sa mga problems na pwede nilang isolve. Next is pag-transfer ng genus. Ibig sabihin, yung genus na to, ay yung plant na to, nasa kabilang genus pala siya. Parang ganun. Next is synonymy. It is when one animal group has two scientific names. Ibig sabihin nun, isang animal na akala nung scientist is wala pang pangalan. Pero nung chinek niya yung records, meron na pala siyang pangalan. Ang example nito is, yung echidna is yung parang hedgehog, gano'n, na maliit. Hindi siya hedgehog talaga, pero mukha siyang hedgehog. Gusto siyang tawagin ng isang scientist na echidna. So, yun, inano na niya yun, pinublish na niya yun, etc., etc. Tapos, nung chinek niya, meron na palang other animal na napangalan ay echidna, which is a moray eel. So, wala siyang magagawa. Siya yung nahuli. Mas nauna yung nagpangalan ng echidna doon sa type ng eel na yun. So, ang masusunod, yung una, yung sa eel. So, pinalitan niya yung kaniyang pangalan nung animal na na-discover niya, which is yung mukhang hedgehog, as Tachyglossus. Parang ganon. So, wala siyang choice kasi may nauna na sa pangalan na echidna. Parang ganon. Next is homonymy. One scientific name but given to two different groups of organisms. So, ibig sabihin, dalawang animals, parehas sila ng scientific name. Next is the Bulletin of Zoological Nomenclature. It is a platform for nomenclatural problems and cases. Dito nila ina-appeal lahat ng kanilang taxonomic problems. And yung Strickland Code ni Hugh Edwin Strickland, 1841, ito yung precursor. So, parang siya yung nauna. Siya yung naging basehan or like siya yung pioneer ng mga later codes ng ICZN. So, ano ba yung objective kung bakit meron tayong code? Yung una is stability, para hindi nagbabago-bago yung names, diba? Ito yung pinaka-hard na ma-attain kasi dahil ang daming revisions na nangyayari. Next is universality. So, kung nasan ka mang panig ng mundo, isa lang ang pangalan ng species na yan. Parang ganon. Kaya yung scientific names ay mostly Latinized kasi hindi na ginagamit yung Latin kasi dead language na siya. So, hindi na siya sinasalita. Para mas stable yung yung species name na yun. Next is unique and distinct name. So, parang no two organisms uses the same name. Next is independence of ICZN from the ICN. ICZN is concerned sa animals. Ang ICN ay concerned sa other organisms. Ayan. Like plants. Una, sa ICZN, totonyms are recognized. Totonyms is yung nag-uulit ng pangalan. For example, Chanus is bangus, and Balanus is barnacles. Next is compound-specific epithets are not hyphenated. Compound-specific epithets, ibig sabihin, dalawa yung pangalan. For example, Culsita Novae Guinea. Ibig sabihin, nung Novae Guinea, ibig sabihin, New Guinea. Pero, wala siyang hyphen, tulad dito sa Hibiscus rosa sinensis, di ba, dalawa, tas may hyphen. So, kapag sa IGN, or pag animal na yung ninename mo, kailangan walang hyphen. Next is presence of author's name in the SN or in the scientific name is optional. So, hindi mo kailangan ilagay yung author's name. Next is date of publication is separated from author's names by a comma. For example, is Proteroaster nodosus, which is a Proteroaster nodosus is a sea star, and discover siya ni Linnaeus. So, lalagyan mo siya ng comma, Linnaeus, and comma 1758. Kung kailan siya na-publish. Ayan. Sa ICN naman, yung toponyms, hindi pwede yun. Bawal ka mag-ulit ng pangalan. Compound-specific epithets ay kailangan hyphenated. So, tulad ng Hibiscus rosa sinensis, yung rosa, may dash sa sinensis, adiantum, capillus veneris, which is yung nasa right, meron siyang, hyphen. Basta kailangan ng hyphen pag dalawa yung specific epithet mo. So, ano pa yung other examples? Erythrina cristagalli, ganon, and so on. Author citation is required, closed by parenthesis to separate from scientific name. So, kapag isa-cite mo pag isasabihin mo yung pangalan yung species name niya, kailangan nandun yung author's name na naka-parenthesis sa mga publications. Starting point. Starting point is yung date of effectivity ng zoological nomenclature, which is ng January 1, 1758. It is the time of publication ng libro ni Linnaeus na Systema Naturae, 10th edition. So, anything na published na scientific names beyond this date na January 1, 1758 ay hindi na valid. Ayan. So, number of words in scientific names of animals for taxa and ranks na above sa species, which is kingdom to subgenus. Yan, yung macrotaxonomy, isa lang ang kanilang number ng words sa pangalan. For species name, 2, isang genus sa harap and specific epithet sa dulo, and for subspecies, pwedeng 3. So, yung different na mga abbreviations na ma-encounter natin, yung CV means cultivated variety, yung SUBSP means subspecies, and VAR means variety or cultivar. Basta ganon. May kita natin yun sa before ng pangalan ng mismong subspecies. Ganon. Next is name of subgenera is placed in parentheses. Subgenera is between genus and species. So, nasa gitna siya ng genus and subspecies. And, for example, Passerella melodia, isa siyang bird. So, kung gusto mong, kung ilalagay mo yung subgenera niya, ilalagay mo siya in parentheses in between the genus and specific epithet. Tulad nito, Melospiza. So, Passerella melospiza melodia. Yan. Capitalize. And hindi siya kasama sa i-italicize or i-underline. Ayan. Ito yung other examples. Next is criteria of publication. A valid scientific name must be published in a renowned journal. So, paano ma-publish yung scientific name mo? What constitutes muna as a published work? Una is provide a public and permanent scientific record. Next is accessibility. Dapat yung work na, yung journal mo ay can be purchased or free of charge. Tapos, deposited in at least 5 major publicly accessible libraries. Then, wide dissemination. Ibig sabihin nun yung publication siya, na-publish siya in scientific journals, and yung new name niya should be written or included into the zoological record. Ano ba yung zoological record? It is the world's oldest and continuing database of animal biology. So, dapat nakapublish siya doon sa zoological record. Ano naman yung hindi nagko-constitute as published work? So, kapag pinublish mo yung scientific name mo, pero hindi naman siya nagko-constitute sa published work, hindi siya mako-considered as official. So, if new scientific names are made known through any of the following means, like handwriting reproduced in fax, photographs, microfilms, labels of specimens, etc., text or illustration distributed via electronic signals, like by means of World Wide Web, abstract of articles, papers, posters, text of lectures, and the like, issued to participants at meetings, symposia, colloquia, or congresses. So, basta hindi siya na-publish ng maayos, hindi siya considered official scientific name. And, ito ay NAST. I think i-encounter siya. It is the National Association of Science and Technology. Andyan lang siya. Fun fact. Criteria of availability when a scientific name is available for use. So, ito yung gagamitin mong criteria kung pwede mo ba siyang ipangalan sa may bagong species na mahanap mo. Number 1 is publication. Kailangan mapublish mo siya. Next is, the name should be Latinized. Kasi nga, dead language na yung Latin, so hindi na siya masyadong makakonfuse sa other language. Consistent application of binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature, ibig sabihin nun, dalawa yung name. Dapat may genus and may specific epithet. Compound-specific epithets are not hyphenated para sa, not hyphenated yan, para sa mga animals yan, ha? Sa animals yun. So, tanggalin muna natin yung ICN para sa plants. Dito muna tayo sa animals. So, non-hyphenated ang mga compound-specific epithets. And preservation and deposition of type specimen. Dapat meron kang type specimen. So, kapag plant yan, dapat naka-herbarium. Pag animal, dapat naka-preserve in alcohol, acetic acid, or formalin. Pag mga small insect, dapat naka-mount siya sa isang slide or naka-pin. So, ano ba yung type specimen? Type specimen is a preserved specimens na used for comparison and identification. Sila yung parang perfect specimen mo, na dun mo i-compare yung any other specimen na makikita mo para malaman mo na ito pala ay nasa same species. So, dapat naka-preserve siya para mako-compare mo siya. Next is validity of names. Una ay ang susundin ang principle of priority. The valid name of a taxon is oldest available name applied to it. So, kung ano yung pinaka-old, kung sino na una, siya yung masusunod. Yun yung ibig sabihin doon. Applies only from subspecies to family. Ayan. For example, may scientific name A ay pinublish ng 1898. Pero ginamit din yung scientific name B, yung scientific name B naman, 1930 siya pinublish. Siyempre, ang magiging valid is yung mas nauna, which is yung 1898. Next naman, ng homonymy, kapag Fruticicola na gastropod, ay pinangalan sa isang gastropod, yung ng 1862, yun yung ma-accept. So, kapag pinangalan mo ng Fruticicola, yung isang holoturian or like sea cucumber, noong 1876, denoted lang siya as synonym and hindi siya considered na official niyang scientific name. Principle of conservation. Ibig sabihin, yung long-standing names around 50 years or more are preserved. So, yung mga nagagamit, yung sobrang tagal na names, preserve dapat sila. For example, ay Pagurus intermedius, which is hindi siya masyadong nagagamit before. So, ang tawag na sa kanya ay nomen oblitum, forgotten name na siya. So, kung nagamit na yung Scylla serrata sa para ma-describe or para mapangalan yung crab na to, kahit nauna man yung Pagurus intermedius na gamitin sa crab na yon, ang mas valid is yung Scylla serrata kasi more than 50 years na siyang ginagamit. So, kahit mauna yung unang pangalan na yun, hindi na siya magagamit kasi hindi naman siya nagtagal. Parang ganon. Next is formation and treatment of names. Abbreviations. On the first mention of the scientific name in a published work, all components should be printed in full. So, for example, sa paper mo, una mong minention yung Asterias rubens, kailangan i-spell out mo siya. Sa pangalawang mention na niya, pwede mo na siyang i-abbreviate like A. rubens. However, if both genus have the same starting letter, spell both out. For example, ng Entamoeba histolytica and Escherichia coli, for example, nasa same scientific paper, kailangan mo silang i-spell out both kasi pareha sila ng starting letter. Next is responsibility of authors in forming new names. Names should be appropriate, morphologically appropriate sa kanilang animals, compact, hindi masyadong mahaba, euphonious, smooth sounding, easy to pronounce. Continuous vowels are discouraged, mga magkakasunod-sunod na A, E, I, O, gano'n. Next is memorable, easy to remember, and do not cause offense, especially to religious sects. Basta hindi siya offensive. Ayun yung example, Demonia Jehovah, which is offensive to Jehovah's Witness. Next is formation of species name. The specific epithet should agree with the gender with the generic name. So, Article 31.2, Agreement in Gender, ito yung example, like Felis and Catus. May kita nyo yung, prefixes niya. So, ano ba yung rule na to? Ibig sabihin na to, yung genus niya, tsaka yung specific epithet niya, dapat parehas sila ng gender expression. For example, pag masculine, yung like Felis, IS yung dulo, diba? So, masculine yon. Pwede siyang masculine. So, pwede mong gamitin dyan is Catus. So, ang prefix niya is us. And masculine din siya. So, nagmamatch sila. So, kailangan, kung masculine, masculine lang. Kung feminine, feminine lang. Pag neuter, neuter lang. Examples, Denarius plexipus is a butterfly, us and us. Periplaneta americana, A and A, which is feminine. Trachycardium magnum, yung last niya, ibig sabihin neuter. Blata orientalis, blata, feminine. Orientalis is feminine din. Lumbricus terrestris, us and is, ayan, masculine yan. Bubalus mindorensis, us and is, ayan, masculine din yan. Certain generic names which are of Greek origins take the gender given for that word in standard Greek dictionaries. For example, ang mga feminine na prefixes sa Greek dictionary, so not necessarily sa English dictionary, ay mga charis, gaster, lepis, and opsis. Pwede mo siyang i-match dito sa mga feminine na prefixes dito sa unang listahan natin. So, pwedeng Drosophila melanogaster. Kahit ang dulo niya is gaster, pwede pa rin siyang consider na feminine kasi tapos yung gaster is feminine. Parang ganun. So, kailangan same gender pa rin talaga. Ito, for example, Pentaceropsis tyloderma. Opsis is a feminine prefix and yung is a feminine din. Ayan, A. Ito yung other examples. Next is a genus name that is Greek word Latinized with change of ending or with the Latin suffix. Take the gender normally appropriate to the Latin suffix. So, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, pwede mong gamitin kailangan mong gamitin yung gender na normally appropriate dun sa Latin suffix. So, for example, kephale, which is like head. So, ang gagamitin mo is cephalus, ganon. Ito yung other examples niya. Like, Ophicephalus striatus. Cephalus, ayan. Gagamitin mo siya, tapos, kung ano yung dulo niya, us. 'Di ba? Kailangan i-match mo rin siya dito. So, magiging masculine na siya. Next is, basis used in forming genus and specific epithet. Ito naman. Kung ano yung mga ginagamit nilang basis sa pagpangalan ng mga animals. Isa is shape, Tenodiscus, kasi disc shape, Tenodiscus crispatus. Next is color, melano plus femorubrum, ibig sabihin ng melano is black, rubrum means red. Number of structures, pwedeng based sa number ng structures nila. Ibig sabihin, kung Leptinotarsa decemilineata, ibig sabihin 10 lines kasi decem means 10 and lineata means lines. Ibig sabihin may 10 lines yung beetle na yan. Then is Henricia multispina. Multi means marami. Yung spina, spines. So marami siyang spines. Next is Grillotalpa hexadactyla. Hexadactyl means 6 yung legs niya. Next is pwede namang based sa size ng animal. Macro means large. Micro means small. Ganon. Tapos habitat. Fasciola hepatica. Hepatica means liver. Ibig sabihin yung fluke na yun ay nag-live sa mga liver ng animals. Lumbricus terrestris. Terrestris means land. So, ibig sabihin yung roundworm na yun ay nakatira sa land. And yung Homarus marinus. Marinus means sea. So, yung animal yun ay nabubuhay sa sea. Ganun. Other examples, Fasciola gigantica. Ibig sabihin malaki. Gigantic. Hymenolepis diminuta. Diminuta. Ibig sabihin mini. Maliit. Yan, tapeworm yun. Other basis is geographical distribution. Cursita novigini, I think. Novigini means New Guinea. Ibig sabihin dun siya nahanap. Oliva tricolor palawanensis. So, Palawan. Blata orientalis, isang type of cockroach. Ito yung cockroach daw na hindi lumilipad. Tapos, maliit lang siya. So, parang yung black siya, tapos may mga stripes. Ito yun, yung Blata orientalis. Tapos, ayun, nahanap siya sa Oriental. Tapos, Popila japonica. So, nakikita to sa Japan. Periplaneta americana, nakikita sa Amerika. Next is substantial or chemical content. Hirudomedicinalis, ibig sabihin, meron siyang hirudin. Hirudin is a anticoagulant substance na ginagamit ng leeches para hindi mag-coagulate yung blood kapag nagsasak on their, host na sila. So, hirudin is a chemical substance, an anticoagulant. Next is mythological. Based on mythological creatures or gods and goddesses. So, Cassiopeia Andromeda, which is from Greek gods and goddesses. Neptunus from Neptune is a Roman god. And Pelagicus, ayan. Patronymic names naman. Patronymic names is yung parang, shout out sa taxonomic world. Also known as commemorative names. Honors a person who contributed to the field. For genus name, kapag ang last name or yung name na gusto mong i-honor ay nag-e-end sa vowel, ang i-attach mo sa dulo ay a. Except kung yung vowel na yun ay a, ang dadagdag mo is ea. So, for example, Duranoa. Magiging Duranoa siya, lalagyan mo na a sa dulo. Pero pag a naman yung dulo, for example, Alcala, lalagyan mo ng ea. So, Alcalaea. Yon, maglalagyan mo ng ea. Pag consonant naman yung ending niya, lalagyan mo ng ia sa dulo. For example, Ramosia, ganon. Kapag, except naman, kung yung name na yon ay nag-e-end sa us, for example, Linnaeus, ang idadagdag mo naman ay a, hindi na ia. So, Linnaeus, tatanggalin mo yung us, papalitan mo ng a. So, magiging Linnea. Yan. In a compound-specific epithet of which the first part consists of a numeral, the numeral is spelled out as a Latin word, is not hyphenated. So, kung may number siya, for example, decim is 10, diba? Hindi mo na siya kailangang hindi mo na siya need i-hyphen. Tapos, dapat isa-spell out mo yung buong Latin word to, na dun sa number. So, decem lineata, decem 10 lines, 3 lobata, 3, 3, ganun. Suffixes naman, ito naman, para sa family group names. Ang nilalagay sa mga superfamilies is oidea. Sa mga, for example, sa Fasciola, ang pangalan ng superfamily nila is Fascioloidea. So, lalagyan mo ng oidea. So, pag naka-encounter ka ng name na ang dulo is oidea, ibig sabihin nun, superfamily siya. Pag idea naman, it is family sa Chiton, Chitonidae. Next is Inae. Pag Inae naman is subfamily. For Laganum, example, Laganinae. Pag Ini, sa tribe naman yon, Bombus, magiging Bombini. And Ina for subtribe. So, Culex, maging Culisina. Ayan. Ito yung mga examples na yon. Family names are based on type genus. Genus with more common representatives. Kasi, ang type genus is yung mas marami siyang representative. Yun yung family name niya. So, for example, sa Chitonidae, ang type genus niya ay mga chiton. Ayan. Thus, Felis for Felidae. Ayan. Next is nomen nudum. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng nomen nudum? Does not satisfy the conditions of availability, did not meet the full requirements for publication. So, kung ang scientific name mo hindi siya tumugma or hindi siya pumasok dun sa mga criteria, ang tawag na sa kanya ay nomen nudum. Pag nomen dubium naman, dubious name, invalid name due to type specimen issues. Ibig sabihin naman ito, nakapublish ka nga, nagawa mo lahat ng process, follow siya sa lahat ng rules, pero may problem dun sa type specimen mo, sa specimen na dapat magiging comparison mo. Ang tawag na dun is nomen dubium. Dito na tayo sa next. Chapter 11, authorship. The author of a name is the person who first publishes it in accordance with the ICCN. Kung sino yung nauna, siya ang masusunod. Next is citation of author's name is optional under ICCN. A name with multiple authors ay gumagamit ng ampersand or et al. If the name of the taxon is established anonymously, pwede mong gamitin yung anon, tapos period. Yan, anon. May be used if the authorship is known or inferred from external evidence. The name of the author, if cited, is enclosed in square brackets to show the original anonymity. Ibig sabihin nun, hindi alam kung sino yung author, pero marang may evidence. May evidence na siya yung nag-publish nun. Pero hindi siya technically, wala siyang solid evidence na siya yun. Pero parang merong nag-i-imply na siya yung nag-publish nun. Hindi mo siya pwedeng ilagay in parentheses. Kailangan naka-square brackets siya kasi hindi pa siya official. Change combinations. The name of the author is placed in parentheses. For ang ibig sabihin nito, kapag may nagbago ng species name nung animal. For example, the name of the person who made the change in combination, transfer to a new genus, or nag-elevate ng rank, is written after the original author's name. For example, Taenia diminuta is discovered by Rudolphi in 1819. Pero nagkaroon siya ng revision, na-transfer siya to genus Hymenolepis. So for hypothetically speaking, kung si Jones, ang last name ni Jones, siya yung nag-revise, kung i-cite mo na siya, kailangan, ang tawag na sa kanya is Hymenolepis to, hindi to Hymenolepic. Hymenolepis diminuta, parenthesis, Rudolphi, 1819, parenthesis. Tapos, kung sino nag-revise, si Jones, isusulat mo siya after nung parenthesis, Jones, tapos, comma, tapos kung kailan niya, ni-revise yon. So, ayan. Ito yung full pangalan nung species. Next is principles of homonymy. When two or more names are homonyms, the senior name is prioritized and used as a valid name. So, Metopinae is a type genus ng Metopius, is a subfamily. Tapos, Metopini, yung mga Metopini na yan, ginamit siyang mga tribe sila. To avoid homonymy, the spelling of last two names was changed to Metopiacini and Metopiaini, respectively. So, kung sino yung mas superior, sino ba mas superior sa mga hierarchy ng mga taxa, 'di ba subfamily? So yung subfamily, siya yung masusunod. Tapos kailangan baguhin nung tribes kasi mas mababa yung rank nila sa taxa. Kailangan nilang mabago. So ayan, binago sila. Next is one letter difference. Rule in ICCN for her homonymy. Even if the difference between two family group names is only one letter, they are not homonyms. Ibig sabihin nun, kahit isang letter lang yan or isang letter na na-repeat, kung magkaiba sila ng spelling, magkaibang species sila. Example, Laridae is a bird, and ang type species niya ang type genus niya is Larus. Ang nag-discover sa kanya si Linnaeus noong 1758. Tapos iba siya, like a different genus siya kesa sa Laridae na double R. It's an Hymenoptera, and ang type genus niya is Lara, and siyang nag-discover sa kanya is si Fabricius ng 1793. Wait lang. Tama ba? Tama. Idae ang family. Yan. Mga family pala to. Ayan. So, kahit sa mga family groups, kahit isang letter lang yan, magkaiba sila. Ayan. Next is variant spellings of species group. Names deemed to be identical. Sa family, ganon. Pag isang letter, magkaiba na sila. Pero, pag nasa species level ka na, dapat, yung may mga names na deemed identical kahit onti lang yung differences nila. So, species group names used for different taxa that differ in spelling only and are the same derivation and meaning are considered homonyms. Ito yung mga special examples. Use of a single or double consonant, littoralis and littoralis na double T. Ayan, homonyms yan, magkaparehas yan. Next is, kasi both sila nag-refer sa shallow part of body of water. Use of EI, I or Y, Kairopus, tapos dito, Kairopus, Kairopus. Yan, lahat din considered identical. Next is use or for CK for the same letter, Microdon and Microdon. Parehas lang yan sila. Ibig sabihin, kailangan magbago ng isa. Ganon. Next is F or PH, sulphureous sa sulphureous, presence of absence of T before T, autumnalis and autumnalis. Kasi minsan na, nasa silent yan eh. So, considered silang identical. Use of TH or T, Clatharatus and Clataratus. Ayan. Ito na, finally, last page. Types in the species group. Type, ito ulit, yung type specimen. The specimen upon which the author based his descriptions of a new species. Ang other name niya is nomenclatural type. The standard of reference for the application of zoological names. Ito yung perfect specimen. Dito mo i-base lahat ng characteristics ng other animals na makikita mo para ma-identify mo yung species na yun. So, type specimen. It's a preserved specimen. So, kinds of type specimens. Una is holotype. Ito yung pinaka-superior na type specimen. It's the holotype. It's a single specimen designated by the author as that type at the time of publication of the original description. Ibig sabihin, siya yung pinaka-unang type specimen and siya yung pagbabasihan mo for that species. Ayan, ito yung example ng type specimen for Pumasea caniculata. Ayan, mga type specimen. Next is syntype. Ito yung one or two more specimens or series of specimens cited by the author when no holotype was designated. So, kung wala siyang na-designate na isang holotype, syntype, sila yung mas marami naman. So, group of specimens na siya. Kapag hindi na specify ng author yung holotype niya. Next is lectotype, one of the syntypes which have been designated later as a standard of reference. So, parang lectotype, under siya ng syntype. Ayun, ganun. Designated later as a standard of reference. So, parang hindi pa siya official, pero like, lang siya, designate siya later, parang lang siya. Basta parang reference lang siya, pero hindi siya yung official na reference mo. Kasi ang official reference mo is yung holotype. Next is isotype. It's a duplicate of the holotype collected from the same place and time as the holotype. So, lang siya, pag na-collect mo na yung holotype mo, tapos may na-collect ka ulit na another specimen, pero hindi yun yung mo, hindi yun yung mismong type specimen mo. Ang tawag sa kanya is isotype. So, na-collect mo siya at the same time and same place, ganon. Neotype is the news, pag nawala, na damage yung type specimen mo, neotype na ang tawag dun sa replacement niya. Next is paratype. It's specimen not formally designated as a type but cited along with the types collection in the original description of a taxon. Ito yun naman, hindi siya officially na tinawag as the type specimen of that species. Pero, na-collect siya at the same time and same date. Para siyang isotype eh. Pero yung isotype, parang published siya na duplicate talaga. Yung paratype, not formally designated siya as a type. So, hindi talaga siya technically a type, pero nasa site siya alongside with the actual type collection. So, ayan. So, that's all for nomenclature.